Aye.
Aye.
Better than last week at this time. But thanks for being here as well of you. Now, I'd like to go over, if you have, again, the way I'm attempting to proceed is to have you focus on what's achievable, right, and what's your plan. I mean, if you think about conceptually, there's so I need you here because the content is such a cool test. There's no content on this test. So there's nothing, quote unquote, to study for. There's no content, right? Essentially what they're seeing is, can you solve? Because that's what you have to do as a lawyer. You have to solve to a certain standard, right? And you're going to be wrong. The goal is not to be wrong very often. It's certainly not to be wrong about things that are really serious. There's no content. There's no content. You know, you're going to go whatever area of law you start in, and for the most part, you're not going to know anything about that. I mean, some of you will. But it's very, very common when you come out of law school, you go into some area of law because you got a job. Or maybe it's not the job you got, it's maybe the firm that hired you. The content, the learning of stuff comes once you're into whatever area you end up in. That's where the content actually comes into play. But now, particularly for this test, there ain't none. So what this is about is, as in life, everyone has to have a purpose on this. Now, I know, like, everybody agrees, right? The overall purpose is to get a score that gets you into law school, right? The overall purpose for everyone is to get the highest possible score, right? But when you break that down, I need you to start thinking about this stuff now, because we're going to do this again today. We'll switch today. We'll go over the logical. And I urge you to bring up either things you got wrong or things that you maybe gotten right, but it wasn't really clear. This is all about how you approach reasoning. It's all about IRAC. It's all about getting that down. It doesn't matter what issue they put in front of you. It doesn't matter what law they put in front of you. It doesn't matter. It matters that when they do that, which they will, what do you do with it? So it's just getting it down. It's so when you break it down for the test, the purpose you'll be informed more clearly as to your purpose as you go through this. In other words, your purpose may end up being answering 80 questions or 70 questions or 90 questions, but you got to go in there saying, this is what I'm doing and I'm not deviating from it. You with me? You're not deviating from it. And so you got to go in there. The reason you don't deviate from your plan is because you practice it in advance. Kavish? You've had success. You take the plan, you take the purpose, and you say, does this plan achieve this purpose? And then you work your ass off. You with me? And that is what lawyers do. Well, it's what good lawyers do. All right? So, the purpose has to be for each of the three sections. You with me? It's not just, oh, I'm going to get an 80. Okay, but show me how. Show me how. What is it you expect to get in logical reasoning? And what is it you expect to get in reading comprehension? is it you expect to get in analytical reasoning? You with me? You've got to start. If you find yourself not doing this, right, if you find yourself during the week blowing this off, and that takes week after week, you probably shouldn't be a lawyer. You probably shouldn't even try to be a lawyer. Because really what you're counting on is somehow you're going to get inspired when you come in here. And it might work out, you know. It might be that you approach this in the third person. You approach this like, okay, you know, I'll go listen to Peter and I'll go do what I do. Okay? That's not going to succeed. And if it did, if it got you into law school, it's certainly not going to succeed in law school. You got to want to prepare. That's what makes you a lawyer. Okay? So today, I'm going to be focusing, we'll see how much time it takes, but I'm really going to be focusing on what's our purpose in analytical reasoning. What's our design to achieve the purpose, right? So you have to have a design. So for some of you, in analytical, the design will be 3 hypotheticals. For some of you, the design may be 2 hypotheticals, and for some of you, the design may be 4 hypotheticals. There's no one design, because you're you. You're not the person sitting next to you. You're you, right? So that's what I'm going to be working on most, I think, of today, is let's start thinking about what's your purpose in analytical. What are you trying to achieve, right? Now, do you have a design, because you're the designer, right? You're this person. So if you design a plan, the test never, ever, ever, ever changes. So you're going out there against the same, you know, football team that you had last week, and they haven't changed a damn thing. So you know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do. They're going to require you to identify a flaw 8 to 10 times. They're going to require you to identify an assumption 6 to 8 times. They're going to require you to draw a conclusion about 12 times. They're going to require you to strengthen or weaken an argument about 12 times. There's no change. In analytical, there's no change. In reading comp, there's no change. So how do you not succeed? Because I really don't get it. How do you not succeed? If they never alter their approach, and they don't, how do you not succeed? And I say it's because you don't care enough. You know, that you're not motivated enough. Because I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy, right? But I mean, the bar exam, they change. You're going to take essays, right? Well, the essays you take, they almost certainly will contain different subject areas than the essays that were administered on the prior bar exam. So, you know, you could end up, you know, forever ago, I remember preparing, what do they take, corporations. And I just felt like taking corporations, not because I had any interest in it, I didn't. But you know, and there was a corporations essay in the bar exam, and I'm sure I did very well on that. You know, but the year after, there was no corporation essay. So out there, things change. This doesn't change. And I think I can establish in the analytical, same thing. It's IRAC, it's one methodology, but it's not going to help if you don't have this. So you start thinking about, you begin with, what's my purpose? You can always adjust your purpose because you're still developing a plan, right? So you say, okay, if my purpose were to do 3 of these, if that were my purpose, right? What's my design? And that goes to, okay, how much time are you going to spend? Which hypothetical you're not going to do, right? And how are you going to distribute your time on the hypothetical draw? It's identical to what we're doing in logical reasoning. So, does anybody have any questions before we get started? Okay, so I want you now to think about, do you have logical reasoning? Is there a discussion to be had? We had exams 64, 65, and 66. And what I had asked you to do is each of the 2 logical reasoning sections, under 35 minutes, to explore this, right? Right? I don't know that you had any purpose in mind when you did this exercise, right? But now you have outcomes. If you've done the assignment, you now have outcomes. If you haven't done it, you haven't done it. Okay, you will make a habit of that, and you're not going to go to law school. So now you want to say, okay, here's what I scored. here's how that fits in, right? Because it's just logical reasoning. So you've got to take a test with reading, comment, and with analytical, right? So you've got to take this score, say, what's my overall purpose? What's that score? How does this fit into it? And what can I do to improve it?